So, this was actually brought up about a week ago when the Cincinnati Bengals brought in Cethan Carter and Foster Moreau. And I talked about, Cethan Carter. I did not talk about Foster Moreau because there was a lot of talks of the New Orleans Saints who are interested in him and probably going to sign him. Well, after he visited with the Cincinnati Bengals, he actually did go to the Saints. So I thought, okay, well, clean cut case. We won't talk about him because it's most likely that he'll sign with them. Well, after they still have not signed Cethan Carter, I thought, okay, well, this is interesting because Foster Moreau still has not been signed, right? So, NFL analysts believe the Bengals are the perfect match for Foster Moreau. Based on what we understand, that right now is between the Cincinnati Bengals and the New Orleans Saints. And I'll be honest with you, it will be interesting. So, who is Foster Moreau? Why is this important? Well, let's go ahead and learn more about him. Starting off right away, Foster Moreau is was a tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. I've gone a little bit back into his backstory. He was a 4th-round pick for the Oakland Raiders back in the day, and he's played his whole entire career with the Oakland Raiders. He is a 26-year-old tight end, so he's definitely, younger. And he's more or less just, I would say, a vertical threat tight end, but he was a guy who was sitting behind Darren Waller his whole entire career, so he was never the number one tight end. But in all honesty, for a backup, he put up some pretty dang good numbers. And keep in mind, we just need to find a guy that can replace Hayden Hurst. And Hayden Hurst wasn't the guy who put up 1,000-yard seasons. So it's definitely one of those things where it's like, because we know the Bengals are going to address the tight end position in the NFL draft, this signing right now just needs to be a cheap, reliable veteran tight end who can come in, kind of show the ropes to the new rookies, and transition them in the correct way to become NFL superstars. That's all the Bengals need. They do not need a guy who's going to come in and be a god-tier player. They don't. They just need a bridge tight end. Kind of like you have a bridge quarterback, a quarterback who eventually shows the ropes to the new guy and, eventually brings the new guy in to become the star. That's all the Bengals need right now. His tight end class, what we're about to talk about, is so freaking good, so amazing that they can easily do that. So, he's a 69.7 receiving grade, 61.1 overall grade, and he's a decent tight end. Like, he's nothing special, don't get me wrong. He's not going to go out there and blow your socks off, okay? He's a guy who's a pretty decent tight end. Over his career, he has gone from, 80, 69, 59, 73 receiving rating. Offensive rating has been pretty what's got pass block ratio. He's been up and down the hill. Again, like I said, he's a guy who, what I like to say, is a nice, cheap veteran replacement. My guess is, especially with the fact that we saw Mike Gesicki sign a 1-year, $9 million deal, but it was actually like $1 million, $4.5 million. It was a 3.5 incentives and stuff like that. So he got up to a $9 million deal, right? That's pretty much what we now know is the tight end market, right? Because he got his contract, Hayden Hurst got a $7 million a year for 3-year contract. And, obviously the guy that Bengals fans and myself included, we want to see go to Cincy is another guy named Dalton Schultz. This is a player a lot of Bengals fans want. I want him on the Bengals too, but at the end of the day, probably will not happen. And actually, wait, did he sign with the Texans? I did not even see this. Okay, so he did sign with the Texans, I think. Holy crap. But breaking news. What? I literally did not even see an up-to-date if he signed with the Texans. He signed a 1-year deal with the Texans 3 hours ago. All right, well, I guess Dalton Schultz is not going Cincy. Wow. Gesicki and now... So this is a good example, though. What was his contract? He signed a 1-year contract with the Texans. Worth up to $9 million. So, the top-end price tag for a veteran tight end right now is $9 million. Up to $9 million incentives. That's the top end price tag for a tight end right now. So, Foster Moreau, if the Bengals sign him, his contract will be anywhere from $2 to $3 million. Because if a 10 is not up to $9 million, this guy right here, I consider him a 6. He would be in the ballpark of $2 to $3 mil. That's not bad. Okay, if we go ahead and put in the salary cap here, and we say, okay, Foster Moreau, right? There we go. We're gonna give him, let's give him a 3-year contract. We're gonna give him a 3-year contract, and I want to give him a $250K signing bonus. Welcome to Cincy. And I'm gonna give him about 1.5 a year. Right? Actually, because the signing bonus is so low, I'll give him like probably 2.5 a year. 2.5 a year for 3 years, right? 250,000 signing bonus, not bad. Bring him in. There, bam. Okay, not bad. Still $15 million on the cap to be able to do whatever else you want to do, right? That's not bad. Now, again, I talked about before Ethan Carter. Again, there was no actual reports. I know there's some rumors that he's going to sign with the Cincinnati Bengals. But at this moment in time, Ethan Carter is not a Cincinnati Bengal. Maybe go ahead and bring him up here. He was cut for the Miami Dolphins. He's not currently a Cincinnati Bengal. So, until he signs with the Bengals, you know, Foster Moreau would be the number 1 guy. And he would be the starting guy on the roster. So now let's look at the tight end group in this draft. Because tight end group in this draft is definitely one of those interesting tight end groups. So right now, as you guys can see, if we go up this list here, Michael Mayer went 21. Dalton Kincaid went 17. If we go to the rest of these tight ends, Luke is top of the list now. He's probably going to go anywhere in the ballpark range of the end of first to early second. Sam Laporta is a guy who's actually dropping a lot, but Darnell Washington's a guy I love for Cincinnati. And in my opinion, I think he is the pick for Cincinnati. I know a lot of Bengals fans have said this. I know a lot of inside sources who have worked for the Bengals who are very into this guy. He's a monster. He's 6'7". He gives you all the intangibles you need. I know it says 3rd round pick. He's not a 3rd round pick. He is a first. He's a end of first, early second, mid second round pick. He's a 6'7", 270-pound monster. He can pretty much play right tackle, also play tight end. He can do a little bit of everything. So if I'm the Bengals here, I'm taking him first pick. And again, like I said, Laporta is dropping a lot, even though he's ranked higher than a lot of these tight ends. He is going to be available in the 2nd round. And you can see right here, bam, he's still available. So he's one of those guys where it's like he's still available. He's still an opportunity to get later on. But if we go down this list of tight ends, right, and you can see in the 2nd round here, other than, I believe, other than the first tight end, Luke, he's the only other tight end I think that got taken. Let me see. So, where is the 2nd tight end? Right here. So, Luke is the only tight end that got taken. So, just going over a little recap. I know a lot of you guys speech impediment. I know you guys already probably know this, but just want to look in case you know. These are the tight ends in this tight end class. We have Dalton Kincaid, who is the number 1 tight end. He is a very good blocker. By the way, all these guys in this tight end class, for the most part, are really good blockers. He's an amazing blocker. He's from Utah. His natural receiving abilities really wins. He's a move tight end. He really needs to improve his muscle mass. He's 6'4", 240 pounds. He is a monster that can go up there and get the football. And he looks like a receiver, which is actually really freaking amazing. He's still not the ideal size for the tight end, though. And again, like I said, he's a really good blocker. Then you have the Notre Dame star, Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer is an absolute monster. Guy grew up outside of Cincinnati. He is a hometown boy, right? With that being said, he wins into physicality. He's very strong. He's very gifted. He's an amazing blocker. Where he needs to work on, though, is his speed and his receiving ability. He's a really great tight end, but he needs to continue to work on that. You know what he needs to go to? A really good tight end room / needs a veteran / needs a star quarterback. He doesn't need a star quarterback. I just said that because I wanted the Bengals to take him. Okay? I'm being selfish now. See how this works out, boys? It works out like that. All right. Next tight end on the board, Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta is going to most likely be a second or third round pick. Where does he win? Yards after catch. What's his role? A seam threat. What can he prove on? The catching point, right? Then we have our next guy, Tyler Kraft. Again, like I said, we're talking about now the 5th tight end off the board. He could become a starting tight end for someone and be a really good starting tight end. He's 6'5", 255. He has the intangibles. He needs a little bit working on his blocking ability, but he's a really good vertical threat. Luke is where we continue to get even crazier. I mean, like I said, guys, 6'6", 250. This man is a monster. Zach Kuntz, this is where we kind of go downhill. And I will say, from Zach Kuntz all the way going downhill, I don't want to say going crazy down. Davis Allen here, 6'6", 250. These two guys, I feel like could be good, could be bad. There's a chance for either one. Obviously, Josh Wiley. I think that's what somebody told me down below how to say his name correctly. He is, and I talked about him many times in the videos before. He's 6'6", 250. He's a guy who is a development piece. He's a project. I really like him. Every intangible, everything he needs to work on, he's at least at average or above, which is really good, right? You know, because it's not like a guy you have to bring in and completely teach the offense, teach how to play football again. No, he's a guy who knows what he's doing. He just needs a little extra oomph to help him get to his, true potential. And I think, again, like I said, a veteran tight end, a veteran leader will help out immensely. All right. So, and then we go down the list here. Will, I don't really like too much. I don't really like him. I don't really like Marshall. I really do like Brenton Strange. I'm very, in the minority when it comes to this pick because not a lot of people like him. And I think he has, 6'3", 246. He's a little bit smaller than most tight ends on this roster, on this draft class. But I think he has the intangibles to be a really good tight end. He is from Penn State, so he's a little bit smaller of a college. So a lot of people are just like, I'm not really interested. I think he could be a really good player. And then we go down the list here, and some of these tight ends, like I said before, are going to be bust. You got Daniel Barker. I really do like him from Michigan State. I think he could be a solid player. And then, it's going down this list. I mean, you have 7th round tight ends like Payne Durham here, who could be a solid tight end in the NFL. Again, like I said, guys, this is what I'm saying right now. I did talk a little bit about Dalton Schultz. Obviously, he signed a 1-year contract with the Houston Texans. But he's not a guy that, you don't need to go out there and get a big threat tight end. Listen, Burrow has his star receivers. He has Chase. He has Higgins. He has Boyd. He doesn't need a God-tier player. And if you look for the most part, last season, I just want to bring this up for good purposes here, that Hayden Hurst was not a guy last season who was going out there and getting 6,000 bazillion targets. This is not a Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, where the Ravens, you need a tight end. He had 68 targets last season, 52 receptions, 414 yards, 2 touchdowns. All you're replacing is this right here. That's all you're replacing, right? And if you can get 2 really solid tight ends who could put up even 200 yards above his numbers, that is so dangerous. That is so freaking dangerous. So if you look at that and you go back to Foster Moreau, he puts up the same numbers. He's pretty much a carbon copy. Except he can be a veteran to teach these tight ends how to play football. So, I know I went on a little bit of a rant, guys. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions, though. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.